peace is a non-negotiable. It rubs up against some of my old beliefs around what it means to be a good girl.
You're listening to Speak Mother, a podcast about reclaiming your voice, your identity, and your truth inside modern motherhood. I'm your host, Shannon Warner. Let's get into it. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so glad you're here. Today, I'm so excited to welcome back Andrea Gibson. Before the rebrand, Andrea's episode was the top performing episode of all time on this podcast. You all absolutely love that conversation, and I know you're going to love this one as well. Andrea is a psychic medium, soul translator, dance educator, and self-love activist. Through her work with the unconditional movement, she offers intimate one-to-one soul readings, translating messages from the spirit world with clarity, compassion, and a deep reverence for the human experience. Over the past year, Andrea has walked through fire, navigating metastatic breast cancer with fierce grace. As she returns to her work, she brings with her a deepened wisdom, an expanded heart, and a renewed devotion to guiding others back to healing, truth, and self-love. Please enjoy this conversation with the one and only Andrea Gibson. Andrea Gibson, welcome back to the podcast. I am so excited you're here.
Thank you, Shannon.
I'm excited, and I am so ready to drop in with you. And as I've told you before, your episode, when you came on a couple of years ago now, it's been a while, has been the top performing episode, and everything that you have said has clearly resonated with the audience.
Oh,
So thank you so much for coming back.
thank you for having me. I love to talk. So let's go.
Let's go. We're going to just see where this goes because you're fascinating and everything that you say is just like gold. No pressure. No pressure.
Yeah, no, none felt on this side either.
No pressure. Do you want to give a little update? Because life has been a lot in the last couple of years. Yeah, life has been lifing.
Like since last time we talked, which was however many years ago, we don't know.
I know.
So, what can I tell you, people, is that I've gone through a breast cancer health journey. I tried to word it a little bit differently. It wasn't, okay, bitch, please. I was scared. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just gonna ride this wave like a gentle giant. Like shit went down, people. Okay. But currently I am a year and a half out from my diagnosis. So I'm like not just seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm standing in the light at the end of the tunnel. And now my focus has been on, without obsessing over the post-traumatic growth of the experience, how I'm living my life differently. And the biggest thing for me is that peace is a non-negotiable. And so that's been interesting because it also rubs up against some of my old beliefs around what it means to be a good girl, what it means to be a good wife, a good mother, a good daughter, all these limiting beliefs I had around how I'm supposed to show up. Shoulding is shaming people. You're literally raining shit on yourself. So I'm working on not doing that.
Your wit never ceases to amaze me. It's amazing. You have shared a lot of your journey on your Instagram and on your Instagram stories, and I so appreciate your vulnerability because you took us on the whole ride. At least that's what it seems from an outside perspective.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's really powerful. And I can only imagine experiencing it and then like living it semi-publicly and sharing everything.
Yes.
What has the feedback been?
Amazing. From my community, it's been phenomenal, but it's definitely been like a push-pull relationship with myself and Instagram, right? Because my whole thing has always been working on mental health and self-love. Like that's how I started, from teaching it in dance class to switching to wanting to teach it to dancers outside of dance class to wanting to show up for women. Like it was just morphing on its own, right? And all because this is what I needed to hear and what I needed to learn, right? That's what drew me to it. Um, and it's been very important for me to be authentic. So then when getting hit by this wave, I wanted to continue to show up, but I couldn't do it in a, oh, it's cancer, no big deal type of way. But I also wanted to, a lot of my value that I put on who I am as a person is the light that I bring. So that was one of the hardest things for me, is to feel like I couldn't bring the light.
Oh.
And not, I don't want to say anymore, but in those moments, it does feel like that. I'm the one that walks into the room and everyone smiles and she has the jokes and she makes people feel better about themselves. And when everything felt so dark for me, I didn't have the energy to be able to do that. So what happened was I had to start really leaning into two things can be true. It was a practice in how can I validate what I'm going through on the deepest, darkest level and not be afraid I'm going to be stuck in that hole because of it. Like we've been told this story, like it's up to you. You have to pull yourself out. You have to see the positive. And in those situations, when you're being broken down and thinned out till there's nothing left, that's so tricky. And yet, when I was able to validate myself and why things were hard and how I was actually scared, and then share that honestly with my community, because, like, oh, Andrea, if she can get through this, like, anyone can. Like, look at her; she has all the tools. And there I was going, I don't know what to do, and I don't know how to keep going. But I think by sharing that, I also said, what if the dark doesn't feel so scary when you're not alone in it anymore? Like when I actually went out there and shared, like it last February with all the radiation after the chemo, after the surgeries, and every day going to the hospital, that's what broke me. And then I was having panic attacks. I walked into the hospital. I walked into the counseling office. I sat down with the lady. I'm like, you need to throw me into the psych ward. I can't keep going. And the shame that was wrapped up in that. So when I was able a week later to sit down and post about it and say, this is what happened. This is how I felt. This was me trying to tap myself out and give up. And then be able to make a joke, and not a joke as a protective mechanism, but also look where I am right now. And we're talking about 7 days ago. All of a sudden, it gave more people permission to struggle and to be honest about it, and not from a victim standpoint. I think that's why a lot of people feel resistant to admitting what they're going through, because they feel like it's one or the other.
Mm.
I'm a victim or I'm a survivor. We're everything. So by being able to share where I was honestly at, while feeling like giving myself time to process first, this is important, right? It removed the shame around it for me, which made it easier to sit in, which allowed me to move through it.
Mm-hmm. I remember the post. I believe you were in your car where you were talking about how you were having these feelings, like you were having this panic attack and didn't know what to do. And it brought something up for me because I imagine for friends, family, people who are following you, where it feels a little helpless on our side because you're sharing and I'm in a different country. Like there's nothing that I could do in that moment. So badly, I wanted to reach through the phone and hug you and be like, what can we do? And I think it gives people an opportunity to witness and not try to fix, because we can't always fix things for people, because it's uncomfortable for us if we feel like that we can't take an action.
Yeah.
And I still don't know what to do with that. But that was something that I noticed in witnessing your journey was like, shit, and I adore you. And I feel like we're like kindred spirits, but I also know that like I'm on the peripheral of your actual life. Like I'm out here, I'm not in your circle,
Hmm.
location be damned. If I get my ass to Canada, watch out, it's over. But I think it's interesting on both sides of like someone I know and care about is going through something, and it's just like, what what can we do? And allowing ourselves to be uncomfortable that they're uncomfortable without having to fix it. A lot of people are fixers.
Well, and if we can talk about that specific post you're speaking to, because that was a big moment for my family.
Yeah.
Because they were all in the car. So my 10-year-old son at the time, my 12-year-old daughter in the back, my husband's driving, and it came on out of nowhere. Like I say, out of nowhere, but there wasn't like we were heading to watch my niece's dance recital. I wasn't feeling stressed about that. I was obviously exhausted with the last 7 months of what I'd gone through, right? But I didn't feel like I was pushing or shoving anything aside. And as it came up, there was this thought of I need to let it move through me. And I'm going to reference something here for all you people that I've never heard anyone else reference, but like an orgasm. Okay. So when that build up, that climax comes, and then I'm just the whole time trying to shove it back down. It's also the difference between like, oh, here we go. My God. Like having an orgasm that you breathe through versus when you're like pushing out, right? Okay. So with the panic attack, I was like, my body is trying to release something. What if it just needs to leave? Like, get the fuck out and let it go. But the issue is, as mothers, there is rarely ever a right time for something like that to just sneak in and take over. You're like, I'm gonna have to schedule this for 8:30 p.m. tonight when my kids are sleeping and my husband's busy, and I'll just go into my room and have a little cry and it'll be fine. That's not how feelings work. You
Right.
can try, but that's not that's when you can like take the edge off. You're not releasing the whole thing. So I had to sit there and breathe through it with my entire family watching me. And that was probably one of the most vulnerable things because, as honest as I've been with my children on that entire ride with my diagnosis, having them see me break like that is what it felt like. Okay. Was really tricky because that triggered a lot of my wounds around being a kid and my mother and watching her struggle and feeling responsible for her safety and her happiness. But that doesn't have to be my story. So it was about breathing through it, allowing the kids see me move through that. I remember at one point, both of them, like, because I'm in the front, reach their hand for it and just have their arm on me and they don't say anything. Like, how beautiful is that?
Yeah.
And then they got to see me be done at the end. They went into the building first so I could stay outside and just collect myself. Then I went in, we watched the show, we went home. And what they witnessed, instead of their mom breaking, they witnessed me move through something really tricky, but get to the other side.
Mm-hmm. Mm. That's so
And so
powerful.
often as mothers, we hide what we're going through to protect our children, we think. But what if we trusted in ourselves more? Because that's what I had to do in that moment, right? And if we can trust in ourselves to move through it, it takes the immense fear out of it. And now our children are witnessing us as humans,
Mm.
which gives them permission to be human and
Mm-hmm.
believe in themselves and trust in their body and what their body is requiring them to do or asking of them.
Yeah. You've given them evidence so that down the road, when they feel like they need to break, that they can, and they'll get through it and they'll be okay. And them knowing that they don't have to fix it, in that
Yeah.
moment. I find that with my 8, almost 9-year-old is so intuitive. She's been here before. She's done this several times, you know, and she's so in tune. And I make it a point that if I'm experiencing something, I'm like, yes, I'm angry. That's okay. I'm not mad at you, and you don't have to do anything about it. It's okay to be
Yeah.
angry. I'm going to work through it. We're good. Everything's good here. You know, I don't know if that language is the best that I could be using, but I always make it a point to be like, this is not a you problem.
But and I think part of the issue here though is that fear of, I don't know if this language is the best. You
Yeah.
know what? We need to be messy.
Yeah.
We need to show up and be messy. That's our only option.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there is no best. It's better
Yeah.
than what it was.
Yeah.
And we're continuing to evolve and grow. But when our expectations are so high, then we don't say anything at all. And that's what causes the disconnect.
Yeah.
That's where the issue is, even when it comes to holding and speaking to ourselves. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so many women, so many, not even women. I've been doing a lot of readings for men lately, and it's like they I don't know how to be kind to myself. I call bullshit. It's a flashlight, okay? You've been practicing being kind your entire life. Turn it inward. Yes, it's going to be awkward. Yes, it's going to feel fake sometimes. Yes, you're not going to know what to say, but you can't just be, I don't have that tool. Bitch, you do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can use a hammer to build a house,
Yeah.
or you can use a hammer to hit yourself over the head.
Yeah.
It's your choice.
Yeah. That's really
So you
interesting.
have to be willing to show up and try.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a game changer. Can you get curious about it? And it
Mm-hmm.
sounds like I'm not talking from like, oh, it was so easy. I just floated right through. I'm talking about me showing up, wiping out, getting back up, dusting myself off, trying again. You know, and sometimes I got up that day. Other times it took me a week or two.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it felt like a month.
Yeah.
But that's the only way to keep moving forward is to know just trying is enough.
Yeah. Movement is movement. Yeah. It's so good. It's so good. So you teased it just a second ago when you said you've been doing readings for men. I am
Oh,
obsessed. Your journey, which started before the cancer diagnosis, but you know, I've heard this before when women are totally stripped down, feel like they've broken down to nothing, that these gifts, opportunities arise. So, can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing now and how that kind of manifested for
yeah.
you?
So I am a soul translator.
Hell yes,
And
you
what
are.
that means is I basically sit with you in your soul and help you understand what's going on for you now in this moment. Sometimes we look back at your past to understand habits and behaviors and beliefs so we can take the self-blame out of things, which makes it easier to have a little bit more compassion. We look at relationships and where we're getting in our own way, right? So my body basically just reflects back to you how you're feeling because in so many places and spaces we've disconnected on purpose.
Mm,
So having someone hold you and help you feel through things while also, spirit's just talking the whole time and giving you tools. And well, that's not actually how you feel. It kind of went down like this. And then the people will be like, well, I don't know. But by the end of the session, because spirit keeps circling back and giving more and more examples to help you understand the depth of where you're at right now. And I was doing a mentorship as a psychic medium before I was diagnosed. And I was actually offered by my mentor she was expanding her business to come work for her. And to me, that was like the highest, like, regard, high five. Like, if she believes in me so much that she would have me work for her and, read for her clients, I gotta believe in myself. And the truth is, that was tricky because, like, no one at 41 years of age just finds out they're a psychic medium. Like, that blows my mind. But what it was me understanding my past and how I'd always been connected, where I was getting messages. And how not everyone feels the same way, right? Like I used to, as a dance teacher, I would watch kids go across the floor doing their kick section, and I'd be like, ah, that poor girl, what's wrong? Something's going on at home. I need to check in with. And then the other teacher would come in and be like, what's up with Susie's attitude? She's not even trying. And I'm looking at her like, dude, can't like I didn't understand that I was receiving different information
Mm,
than someone else.
it's
Does that
fascinating.
make
Oh,
sense?
100%. Yeah.
And so the night before my diagnosis, as we were planning what I was gonna like, how it was gonna work out, how I was gonna work for my mentor, who is phenomenal, it it fell apart, and I was devastated. Devastated. And I won't even go into details because it's pointless, because it's all because of what was about to happen. The next morning, I get told I have breast cancer. I'm thrown into tests. A week and a half later, I've already started chemo. Like my entire life just blew up. And if I would have had my mentor standing by me through that, you know how many phone calls and texts and appointments I would have been obsessing over getting the answers out of her. And because of how things worked out and her all of a sudden not being there, guess who I had to go to for the answers?
Yeah.
Myself. And it fucking sucked. And yet here I am. Look at me now. Right? Because it forced me to like really, oh, it was the worst.
Yeah.
But as a recovered people pleaser, as someone who really values themselves and what they're receiving externally, like that was my practice. I had worked years to break away from that. And it was like, it was these threads that were still hanging on. But all of a sudden, I had all these doctors telling me what to do, and I'm just running and I'm jumping through hoops and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And everything felt urgent. Everything felt like an emergency, like I was going to die if I didn't get up, I
Mm.
didn't do this, and I didn't follow everything exactly to a T. But then if we fast forward to the panic attack situation in February, once I'd gotten through most of that, the running and the running and the running, in the January, they gave me my pathology report, which was not good. That scared the shit out of me too. And then I had to keep checking in with my body. And then my body started telling me a different story than what the doctors were telling me. And I decided that my body has gotten me this far. I'm the one who found the lump. I'm the one, like, there's no breast cancer in my family. I have never watched someone close go through chemo. Like, this was not on my radar,
Mm-hmm.
right? But my body spoke to me. My body got me there. That's how I got the help. So now, guess what, bitches? She's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And the tricky thing about that is when it comes to follow up and medication suggestions and all these preventative measures they want to put me on and through right now. I realized when I was talking to my girlfriend last week, like I don't want to go on that medication. But my realization wasn't that. My body had already told me. It was I felt like a bad girl
Ooh.
by saying no. And that right there, oh my God, this is so funny. It wasn't my girlfriend, it was the BC cancer psychiatrist that I had this epiphany with. I really like
Hey,
her
girlfriend.
though. Who's been following me since the panic attack when I went in and said, put me in the psych ward. And she's been lovely. And she goes like, just so you know, I'm a psychic medium. I get messages from spirit. And okay, like phenomenal about the whole thing. Really? When I looked up what a psychiatrist is versus a psychologist, I'm like, oh my God, this woman could have like locked me away and put me on all these drugs. And I just told her everything I feel and know. How fucking cool is that? And look at me now,
Yeah.
though, from listening. Every other depressive episode I've been in, medication is what has got me out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And this time, I thought, what if my body just needs to move through this?
Mm.
What if and I'm not knocking medication, it saved my life.
Yeah.
Okay. but there was a something different inside of me that said, hey, can we just trust? Can we give it a month? There's a lot of stories wrapped into one, but that bad girl thing, that was a huge sign for me. That's like, okay, that doesn't mean we have to listen.
No, I love it. I adore you, and I notice now that I've talked to you a few times now in the past couple of months, the way you look. I'm like, oh, it's coming. It's coming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, what's coming through now? What's simmering over there? That's very interesting.
I feel like because I spent so much of my life masking without knowing, right? The more I allow myself to be who I am and the channel to be open and flow, it's I can't fake it anymore. But it's because I've built that muscle. It's a lot harder to hide it under baggy clothing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely do.
So it's more about me embracing and allowing. This is just who I am, whatever room I walk into, because my spirituality, my beliefs, my connection, that's always been something that I've hidden. It's been something, and it has been hidden in the like disguise of, well, I don't want to make other people uncomfortable.
Mm,
I want to make sure they know they're allowed to believe whatever they believe. In fact, I don't judge them for it. And I'm not going to sit down and tell them they're wrong because maybe they're not wrong. Like, I don't want them to feel hurt or bothered or, and then I realized, well, Andrea, that is true. And you're worried about being judged. You're worried about being looked at as crazy. That is the real truth why you're not sharing. And so even being able to show up on my Instagram and be more honest about what I do around what my beliefs are, that has been quite the journey. Because I
mm,
really was trying in the beginning to create like a soft palette where everyone's welcome. Well, that's bullshit. That's me just trying to stay safe and not get yelled at for having my own opinions.
right.
And also, they aren't gonna really love it either, right? I'm fucking cilantro. You love me or you hate me, one or the other, deal with it. And I fucking love cilantro, okay? So suck on that. And if you don't like cilantro, go find another greeny, leafy something somewhere else. That's okay.
Yeah.
Right. And that's not about me.
No.
So that's the other piece is I've been able to remove the 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 personal hurt around it.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. That's their side of the street. That's not our problem. We got to own what's over here.
Yeah.
But the owning what's over here is, even if you're like, okay, that's a them, but still fully owning your side of it is not as easy. When you made the announcement, I was not at all surprised. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I was like not shocked. I was just like, yeah, that absolutely jives with the person that I've met. Like that makes perfect sense with her and her energy. And I wouldn't, if you wouldn't mind, can we talk about the breadcrumbs? You and I have talked about this a little bit, but the breadcrumbs that have gotten you here, because I think so many of us give up so early in our journeys because we have this one idea and it doesn't pan out. But we've put ourselves out there and it felt scary and we did it anyway. And then nothing came of it. So then we're kind of wounded. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we don't decide to move forward and try the next thing or follow the nudges to what's next. And your journey absolutely highlights how you've got to follow those breadcrumbs.
I think, well, as a recovered perfectionist, I really want to know the final product before I start,
Right?
right?
Yeah.
And also in my head, it looks so fucking fabulous that then it's scary to even start because the expectation of what it needs to look like is so high. Again, not leaving room for me to be messy, but you've already talked about, right? How important being willing to be messy is. Okay. I mean, go look in my living room. Like I panic, put things away because it makes me feel unsafe when there's stuff everywhere.
Mm.
Right. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
different areas of my life I have to like flex and build that muscle, and it can't be all areas at once.
Right.
And so as I was teaching dance, and I realized, okay, not I was teaching more mental health than I was teaching technique.
Hmm.
So then spirit at the time, I thought I had an idea. Really, spirit was guiding me, right? Oh, I could just make a program that's mental health for dancers. Oh my God, this is so needed. It is absolutely needed. So I tell my husband, I'm going to quit teaching dance. I'm going to go do this. And he kind of just laughed. And was like, no, you're not. That's fucking crazy. You can do both. And I was like, oh, yeah, of course I can do both. That's fine. Well, with someone who gets overstimulated very easily, who like creates like projects for herself, something could be simple. I'll put 12 hours plus 10 into it to make sure, oh, that was a flop. Like I personally needed to believe in myself so much that this was all I was going to do. Otherwise, it was backburnered continually. So all year, I taught another year of dance. I waited and waited. And again, I went to my husband and said, this is what I'm doing. But this time he heard me because I was telling him from my
Mm.
heart. I believed in myself.
Yeah.
Whereas before, the year before, I was waiting for him to give me permission.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Please tell me this is a good idea. Please tell me I can do this. That year, I was like, no, this is what we're doing. And then guess what, guys? Didn't go as planned. Okay. So in my head, I'm like, fuck, Liam's right. Like, and then I had this whole thing where now instead of making it about me, I have to prove to him that by following my heart, this is what people should do. But this is not a straight path, which is what you're talking about. So it went from thinking I'm doing mental health for dancers to realizing it needs to be soul care for women, to realizing, okay, no, I need to do an event. It's going to be the Soul Care Summit and it's going to be phenomenal. To realizing, oh, actually, as I wrap up the Soul Care Summit and I'm doing my mentorship, I'm a psychic medium and I want to do readings for people. But the thing is, if you would have told me when I was teaching dance, Andrea, you need to quit teaching dance because you are now going to be a psychic medium and do readings, I would have laughed in your face. And I wouldn't have even ran the other direction because you were the insane one. I would have just sauntered slowly off down the hallway. Like, what's up with that, lady?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, this is where spirit is going to come into your life and is going to give you the biggest idea or step that is believable within yourself for right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, you show up in that. Then they will drop the next breadcrumb. And it's important if you're really working on your divine path, you need to have a bit of release on where you're headed. You need to trust in where it's taking you. And I know that, oh, it sounds so beautiful and woo woo and phenomenal, Andrea. It's hard and it's scary, and you're going to rub up against your money story and your failure story, all those pieces, right? But if I wouldn't have taken that first step, I wouldn't have been so in tune with myself to get through what I did in the last year and a half. Like so many things have unfolded beautifully because of my courage to listen to what was inside, even though externally no one else, even the people who loved me the most dearly, could see it or understand it.
Yeah. Easier said than done for sure. And you also bump up against your partner's money story, their own stories about fear and failure and everything else. And it's an experience. It is uh it's very similar to my own journey of I'm going to take this course with Kathy Heller, and 1 week she's going to tell us, let's go through the motions of starting a podcast. You don't have to start a podcast, but let's see what you bump up against. End of the week, I'm like, I think I have something. The podcast is born. I'm trying to start a business. Do I go back to work? Da 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 da. I don't know. I'm in this group, this spinoff of this Kathy Heller world, and I see this woman holding this big, beautiful bouquet of flowers. It's so big you can't see her face. And that's what caught my attention. I was like, wow. And then I read the post and I was like, this person is looking for podcast help. I could do that. And then I moved about my day. And then the next morning, I had forgotten about the post. Next morning, I wake up and I hear, message that woman. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are 2 years later. I did it like to make some money on the side, and now this is my job. Like, what do you mean? But if you would have told me that in the beginning, I don't fucking know what a podcast is or how to make one or what. Excuse me. And it's not like, oh, your cute little podcast business. It's like, no, this is voice reclamation for women. This is women who have something to say and putting something very important into the world because now it's needed more than ever. I mean, yes, it's a cutesy little podcast business, right? But I'm like, no, we are doing major things over here. So get on board or move aside. But all to say, you really have to follow those nudges
And listen,
and
you listen.
listen. Yeah.
And that's the thing. Don't, when you're out of practice of hearing your own voice and trusting yourself, those voices come in like whisper,
Yeah.
right? Your practice voices of judgment and not enoughness and urgency and hustle, those are what's loud.
Yeah.
So my practice has been in turning those voices down so I can turn the volume of myself, my heart, my soul, my intuition, and spirit up.
Yeah.
I believe everyone has this connection to some extent, but like I said, it's like a muscle. And when you go and you work out at the gym, you realize there's muscles in your legs that can hurt that you didn't even know were there,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you have to show up every day and practice to build. You don't go to the gym and work out for 12 hours, go home, look in the mirror and go, well, that didn't fucking work. Someone lied about the gym, right? You get
Yeah.
more from showing up 20 minutes, 3 days a week consistently over a year. Like as women, we've been taught this like all or nothing mentality. I think as humans too, but especially when we're rubbing up against like that good girl wound, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just infuriating to me that we're sold these lies about we need these immediate results. But the reason my life has changed is because of my consistency in being inconsistent. Because when I fall off, I just get back up and try again. And when I was in my super crazy perfectionism area, that fall off or my eating disorder, that obsession and that control, that was the end all be all. Now I was completely fucked. It's like the 90s yo-yo diets, right?
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
now you've had one pizza at your kid's party and you're fucked for the weekend. Weight Watchers goes out the window and then you're shame spiraling. So you don't even want to show up on Tuesday for your weigh-in. Like it's so unhealthy. Whereas one piece of pizza, great. What do we do tomorrow?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is about living our lives. Like I said, my biggest thing right now is protecting my peace. That doesn't mean I'm not going to react or have stressful days. Like a healthy nervous system isn't always calm. It reacts in realistic situations. And the other piece of that is, as someone who is highly sensitive, big, like I'm always reading and pulling energy in, even when I'm closed off and protecting myself. My nervous system is going to fritz out faster because it's processing so much more all the time. So that's where I'm at right now, is really trying to not see that as a weakness. But if this is my superpower, how do I handle myself differently? I can't compare myself to my neighbor or the other 17 million people on Instagram who
Right.
do things a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Slowing down isn't an option for me. It's a must.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean losing momentum. And yet, as women, that's how we feel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I forgot who says it, but slow down to speed up.
Mm,
But it's so countercultural. At the speed at
yes.
which everything moves now, it's like if you slow down, you will be left behind. You will be trampled to death, eaten, forgotten. You're done.
So if you want to hear your own voice and what you want or what you need or your intuition, you need to slow down. So women practice slowing down, but then what clicks in first is their fear. And then the fear gets so loud they can't hear what's underneath it.
Yeah.
You have to give it the time and space to move through. It's a layered system, right?
Hmm.
And that's where the validation comes in. So you have to have the self-awareness of what's going on. Oh my God, I feel so uncomfortable slowing down. I feel like I'm getting nowhere. Now I'm looking at my closet. Maybe I should go clean out those 17 different cupboards. Maybe that'll make me feel better. Like it's almost like this quick dopamine hit we need.
Yes.
How do you eat an elephant? One
One
bite
bite.
at a time.
Yeah.
You can slow down one bite at a time. That's how I started 4 years ago. It was 10 minutes a day. How can I sit with myself for 10 minutes a day with no expectations? And there were expectations. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
Like I'm like, this 10 minutes is gonna solve everything.
Yeah.
Right? But you in that moment when you're sitting with yourself, that has to be the win. Not what you get from it, not the answers that come, not the voices you hear, the fact that you showed up for that 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And if at 7 minutes you're crawling out of your own body, guess what? Someone who is listening to their body does. They let it go and they leave. It's 7 minutes that day.
Yep. Yeah.
Boom, motherfucker. You don't sit there writhing like, oh my God, 3 more minutes, like dying inside. Absolutely not.
Right.
And if that continues to happen, maybe you need to start with 3 minutes a day.
Yeah.
You're lifting weight. You're building muscle. You don't go to the gym and then judge yourself on your first show up for not being able to bench press 150 pounds. That's obvious. People go, duh, right? But this is the same situation.
Yeah. We're so disconnected. So those of us who have done it can tell you it is so powerful. But if you're new to this idea, it's like, I'm sorry, what? When? How?
But okay, I'll fuck. Oh, I'm ready to
Let's go.
because I hear you, and go look up on your phone how many hours you scrolled today.
I know.
Okay, this is not shame. This is awareness.
Awareness.
Because
Yeah.
I know you feel like the story is you have no time. But guess what? It took cancer for me to prioritize this to this degree. You don't need that slap in the face,
Right. Right.
right? And now for me, it's more about, okay, Andrea, you didn't get all your protein today, or you didn't get all your water in, or you missed the gym. That doesn't mean you're going to die. Because now me taking care of myself is created this next level of pressure and expectation that if I don't do it right, the cancer's going to be back
Mm.
and I'm not going to make it the next time.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
it's a different level now for me.
Yeah.
And then fear comes in. So what do? I validate it first. Of course you're scared. That came out of nowhere. What kind of psychic doesn't see something like that coming? Like these are the ways I judge myself, right?
Yeah.
But I also had a really big misconception on what it means to be psychic, what it meant to be a medium, right? I just believed what I was told in these movies that I saw. Not that psychic is literally reading energy and it's a string, right? So when I sit with someone, I don't automatically know everything about them. What happens is I start talking and then more comes and more comes and more comes. And the reason I hadn't experienced that before is because I was too afraid to start. So open your mouths, ladies.
There's so many layers to it though, right? Like we're afraid to speak up. We're afraid to tell our truth. We're afraid to, reveal just a little bit because then what if it all comes pouring out? And then how is the other person going to respond? And it is so layered. So of course it feels so hard to start anywhere. Like that is natural, I think, within the confines of the structures that we live in. And like, fuck it all. Like, who is this serving? Is anyone like abundantly well in this system?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Stress is rampant. Our nervous systems are fried. We're exhausted. Things are on fire. Looking at you, America. Things are on fire. Like, so if not now, when?
Here's the thing, especially in my case, I don't have a million appointments that I'm rushing between right now. Like I finally feel like I have my life back and I get to start living the way I want to and building my strength. And I'm still losing sleep over things and stressing about things. And I literally have to catch myself and be like, whoa, bitch, remember when you had cancer? Like, this ain't so bad. But our brains are constantly searching for what should I be worried about?
Mm-hmm.
What do I need to fix? Where are things going to go off the rails? And that right there, that's a new practice too, is to pull back on that and trust more. If I can handle that, if I can handle the last year and a half, I can move through anything. I don't want to. I am not volunteering for more shit to be
Right.
rained upon my house in Cloverdale. That's
Right.
not what I'm saying
No,
here.
thank you.
But
Yeah.
it keeps coming back to the trust. That's two things can be true. I can validate my fear, what's been going on, and I get to be grateful.
Yeah.
I get to say I'm healthy. You know, there's a fear in even saying that out loud. What if I'm wrong? What if I jinx myself? How fucked up is that?
Oh, yeah. It's like another protective measure. I think we feel like we constantly have to have this ring of protection around ourselves, like God, universe, source. And this is something that I keep butting up against is like I have to be responsible for it all. There is no other. I believe in Gus, God, universe, source, absolutely. But are they going to help me? No, not little me. You know what I mean? Like I, at
Yeah.
the end of the day, am responsible for my shit, for my family, for my business, for my marriage, my life, and all the ways that it radiates out in the world. And I won't ask for help. Like I got it, God. Don't
And
worry,
yeah,
I got it.
where you, there's so much in letting go.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the message they gave me this morning for all y'all. And it was last night, I'm brushing my teeth and I go to put my brush away and I can't find the case to go on top of my toothbrush. And I'm like, ew, gross. Now there's going to be poo particles floating in the bathroom and it's going to be all over my toothbrush. Now my toothbrush. And I'm panicking and I'm looking everywhere and I can't freaking find it. And finally, I'm like, ugh, and I just leave the bathroom. And this morning, before I come onto the podcast, sitting on the toilet, having a quiet little pee, and I look up and then it's like, smiling at me right there. Wasn't even looking for it, wasn't even thinking about it. So when you let go, when you release, when you just like give it away as much as you can, and you're in the present moment, that's when you're going to hear what you need. You will not miss what you need. And I was thinking about that with my body and with the different medications they want me to put me on and my body saying no. And maybe it's just no, not right now. Maybe it's just for me. What Spirit says my body is currently trying to find its own homeostasis. And I just need to give it some room to breathe and some patience.
Mm-hmm.
But the work I'm doing on being present, on sitting with myself, on listening, if something comes up and it needs to change, I now trust that I'm going to know and I don't have to hunt for it. It's going to be like that friggin' toothbrush cover, just boom, there looking at me. Okay, you know what to do with me. I could have spent all night going through that bathroom and not seen it.
You wouldn't have seen it. Yeah. It's so true.
So it's about knowing too when to give space for yourself to walk away. And you need that time to process. And please know, are you an internal processor or are you an external processor? I'm external, which means I need someone to sit with me and let me talk for 20 minutes. They don't have to say anything. By the end, I'm going to be, okay, this is how I feel and this is what I need. Thank you so much.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. And my husband, he needs 24 hours to be in his head.
Same. My husband's the same. The men folk. I wonder.
Don't you wonder if that also has been taught?
Yes, I do wonder. Yeah. And my husband, his dad passed when he was 15 and he had two older sisters. So when he was 15, I mean, and they have been on him. So I feel like he is like the least toxically masculine man that I know.
Mm-hmm,
He's just
mm-hmm.
like, so like, it's good. Like whatever. But even still, he's very much internal. Doesn't want to talk about it until he's ready. Sometimes I can get him to drop in with me and it's like, all right, give it to me. Come on. come on, come on. But that's after we've known each other 20 years. So like that's taken a long time to get there.
And I don't really think one is better than the other.
Sure.
I think when you have two different processors trying to communicate, that's when it gets really hard because then as women, we are feeling abandoned, and as men, they're feeling attacked because we're just dumping all this shit on them and they feel like they have to fix it. When really, I'm like, I literally just need you to hold the board while I puke out all these puzzle pieces to see what picture I've created. And my husband's probably like, ew, well, if you just put the board on the fucking table, I can go watch a show. But that's not how it works.
Yeah. Yes. And learning and realizing that about yourself and then being able to articulate it to your whoever you're talking to. I don't need you to fix this. I just need you to be here with me for a few, and then you can go about your day.
But you need to know that about yourself
Yeah.
to be able to say it. And for you to know what you need and how you function, you need to know who you are. And for you to know who you are, you need to sit with yourself to get the answers. And for you to sit with yourself to get the answers, you need to turn down the judgment. For you to turn, like it's
Oh, yeah.
just sit with yourself for 10 minutes a day, people. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Like, start there.
Yeah.
You are building this, like the way spirit showed me when we're doing that is you are building a bridge of trust back to your heart.
Oh, that's so good.
And it takes time. It's like one brick at a time. But if you think of any healthy relationship you are in, even when you are dating or you are making new friends, you don't usually go in and just, I said healthy relationship,
Yeah.
remember?
Yeah.
Within that first hour together, trauma dump, right? You start off, you test the waters. How do I feel around this person? Is it safe? I say this. Do they respond? Right? You have to create a safe space within yourself for that relationship. And for most of us, that means there's some unraveling that needs to be done, some repair work that needs to be done. And that takes time. But I can tell you on the other side, as someone who's been investing in that for quite a few years now, what a difference it makes. Oh my God, it's like the relationship with your children, right? You continue to show up and invest knowing you're helping build healthy, capable, functioning adults, and that you're not really going to see the results of all your hard emotional labor until they're older.
I was thinking too about you do all the work for your children, but to turn it around and to put it back on yourself. Even the most self-aware women that I know in my circle, we still sometimes don't extend the same love and courtesy to ourselves.
No, I teach this shit and I'm
Yeah.
still working on it. This is what you need to understand, people. It's not this like island that you're going to get to.
Yeah.
Sometimes I still get knocked off the island and I have to swim my way back.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at least I know what I'm swimming towards now and why.
Yeah. My husband and I are going through it's not our relationship. It's just something going on in our lives right now. And before this happened, I was like, no more fear, no more shame, da da da. And the universe was like, bet, and it's another opportunity to be like, no, I do trust and know that everything will be okay. We've been through things. It's always been okay. Bet. All right. Okay. Nope. I still trust and know it's going to be okay. And so, you'll solve it in one area of your life and then something else will, reveal itself to you where you're still entangled in these beliefs and systems of operating that need repair.
Yeah. Continual, like how human of you.
Yeah.
Right? That's where the validation is so important too. Actually, this is really scary and I'm feeling it in my body. And there's a piece of me that knows it's going to work out.
Yeah.
It's never one or the other. That's not like if you're doing your best job at being human, you're all the colors of the rainbow all the time.
Yeah. That's all we can do.
And on that note,
I was gonna say, I could talk to you all day, but I want you to please share how everyone can find and follow you and work with you if it feels aligned.
Yes, of course. So right now you can find me on Instagram at The Unconditional Movement, or you can email me, theunconditionalmovement@gmail.com. I'm mostly doing in-person sessions, but as you know, I've done a session for Shannon. I do them online. We just have to reach out in person to make that happen because my programming behind the scenes is not set up for that currently.
I highly recommend it. We'll make sure all of that's in the show notes. And if Andrea is speaking to you at all, trust that because she's amazing. Thank you so much for being here, Andrea. I so appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. Love to you all.
Thanks for listening to Speak Mother. If this resonated, share it with a friend, and don't forget to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Keep speaking your truth. I'll meet you back here soon.